Hello, welcome to Board Deck and Dice First Play. Mark, does your blacksmith look smaller? We are playing Merchant's Cove. Here we are trying to sell to these ships that come in. Only 4 of the 6 ships will come in, and the colours of the meeples on them dictate what goods you can sell. So on that left-hand one, I can sell big goods. If I sell a green big good, I get to triple its value. The middle pier lets you sell small goods to both boats there, and the end pier is kind of a black market for any that are left over. Any meeples from the boats that don't come in go into their factions, which each different merchant has a different way of uncovering faction bonuses, and these grey ones are kind of just horrible rogues. So it's worker placement, so each player has their own player board, which can look incredibly different, but they all have these worker placement spots. The ones that are the same are hiring staff and activating staff. When you hire staff, you get their power on the bottom, you get some end game scoring stuff, and then you assign them a role which you can then activate them for. Everything you do in this game costs time. The time track, we haven't got time to talk about it all, but it works really nicely. That's one of the best uses of time tracks I've seen in terms of how it drives the game on, because you're adding people to boats. You can take corruption to get an extra hour or two. That worked very nicely. On my board, I was the captain. I had to move my boats around, discovering treasure, then importing it. The kind of battle there was that would bring my ships back into the cove, and also that's where my guild symbols were. Could also go fishing for my small goods, and I had to manage cursed treasure, which can get me points, but if I get too many on there, I get corruption. This nice little table, but in the final game, each player is going to have their own unique display stand. Simon, you did the Alchemist.
Yep. So my whole goal was to pull these potions. So there's 3 levels of track. For example, this one here lets me declare anything on this row. So if I said green, I just take out the green marbles. Anything that cascades into that row I get as well of that colour, including black, which is a wild, and then they go into my cauldrons.
That was an amazing pull, almost like you set it up.
Yeah. And then I can brew using the brew action and using this chart here. So small is 2 of the same type, large is 2 of the same type and another, or you can also pull down these guild markers to uncover the guild, and that's a wild in the cauldron. Any blacks go over here into the corruption area, and that can be cleared out using that action as well.
Nice. Marcus, you have the easiest roll and also the losing roll.
Yeah. So you go in these spaces here to put dice up here.
You're a blacksmith, aren't you?
Yes.
This is going. I think they've unlocked dual layer blacksmith board as well.
Nice.
That'd be good. And then the colour up here dictates, so for those 2 you put 2 dice in, that colour dictates the colour of the sword you're doing, and that one can be any other colour, but it has to reach that threshold.
So these are your allies and these are your coals.
Yeah, and then with these 2 it's got to be below that threshold.
Yeah. So your big goods, your small goods, and you can also get a staff member to adjust your coals, because obviously they're set kind of...
So that one would have been on 2.
You want those higher and you want those lower, basically. Yeah. And then you can get your guilds come from unlocking new allies, don't they?
Yeah. Which I go there, I put a dice there, and
they come out when you roll. Yeah. 2. The one we didn't do was the Chronomancer. They have a little rondel that you're kind of with tiles on that you kind of activate. You kind of going round and you can change the tiles, and they're stealing relics from the past to sell. Really good, really good. Really liked it. It's always hard to know how to teach. I was these games, and I was the one who read all the rules and probably got most rules wrong in the end. But actually, there's a lot of. If you can explain the markets, you can explain the scoring, you can explain the time track, and you can explain the common actions and the fact that it's worker placement. Then give everyone their book, and they could just read through it. And the books are short enough, even at this stage, that you get a good grasp of it. And obviously in the final books they'll have more of the stuff they're discovering that people are doing wrong. I made the but then I read a lot of rule books, so there is that as well. And they were fairly easy to correct, I think. So my win is legit.
I think one thing that we all said though as well is that the iconography is so strong.
Yeah.
So where the errors were being made and where we're watching each other's boards, we could actually sort of work out exactly what was needed to be done, or work out what we're looking for on the rules on the board. Everything was just really clear.
There was only the one I had to ask, wasn't there, on my spinner?
Yeah.
Because it had a skull, I thought it was take corruption, but it actually had the picture of the spinner in the background. And when I got told, I was like, oh yeah. But everything else on staff powers, some came out that, because it's a prototype, we haven't had all the icons, but we were like,
really straightforward.
And there's some really cool staff powers as well. And you were saying, Simon, like when you play Root, you're looking more at the other people going, that looks fun. But
I've played Vast just recently, and every time I played Vast, I've been playing my thing, but I've always been sort of envious of what everyone else is doing, like looking at their stuff, going, oh, that looks really cool, I want to play that next time. Whereas this, I was just looking at my own puzzle. I was looking elsewhere as well, but I was just thinking about my own puzzle and how I'd do that again, and I really want to play this again, as opposed to wanting to try everything. I do want to try everything, but eventually. It's one of these where I just want to get really good at this and then move on. It's great.
I have a little bit of curiosity about the Chronomancer. But yeah, I would love to. I thought this one was really clever. It's almost like you've got the game and then you've got 4 other games going on, and the way they mesh together is quite impressive, really.
I thought this was a really strong time track. I mean, I played a few Rondale style time tracks, but I just loved the fact that you could take that corruption. You guys were, and I wasn't. And I wasn't, so more so to get these people out.
Because that forces...
I was forcing...
less turns.
Also just my own sort of thing and stopping you guys from selling stuff.
So basically there's a market token here, but once the piers are full, that market token will move next to the furthest player along the track. So if you're not taking corruption to get extra hours and you play it cleverly, you can actually fill up the boats. And so these players are taking corruption thinking, hey, I'll get an extra goes, suddenly don't have that. And that's a real nice level of player interaction. I would say, especially even after the first day, we started looking at the customers in the boats and going, they're going to get a green, they're going to get a blue. I might, they've got, like, especially the last day, we were like, Mark's got no big ones of this colour or whatever, stick that one in, stick that one in the large, or no smalls. So that there's some nice player interaction there, and the potential for other merchants that can be more interactive. There's a roll and write expansion one and a tavern, which the tavern really, because it's got beds, and I don't know if you're actually producing goods so much as putting up people who come into the town, which would be nice as well. Mark?
I really liked it. I didn't use the forge as efficiently because I can use any of the forges when I take that action. I can do all of them, so I didn't do that as well. So the second round I was miles behind, but managed.
But you caught up, didn't you? Yeah. I think a lot more of the blacksmith's actions are one time.
Yeah, I think what I would do next time is just go there, and there, and just fill it, and then.
And perhaps get the extra dice as well, because you've only got 4 at the start. So you need to do
I have to do those 2, or
maybe little goods at the start, and then.
But you can go like that and just back and forth.
Because remember, you'll be getting the gold bonus from those as soon as you get those out as well, and that could be massive as well.
Yeah, can be.
When I did it wrong, and I can see why the pirates have to go back now, because that'd be so powerful. I mean, sometimes I was thinking, there's so many greens in there that actually getting a green one there is more important to me than selling a green good in some cases.
I was scoring that. I think the first round I had the red. So I was always scoring stuff from there. And then that comes off when you forge as well. So that action's really powerful. It just takes a lot to get to that.
Yeah, it just gave me that kind of extra thought of, I'm not just putting someone in a boat that I want to go into the dock. And I want people to go into the guilds as well, because that's point scoring. So I don't know what else to say really. Have we missed anything? Nice simple way when you get past 100 of doing that. It's nice little, that's what you do.
Yeah. And there's things like this on my board where it tells you exactly what's in your bag, so you don't have to sort of consult the rules every time. You can just work out your odds and things.
Yeah, I think it's really impressive and well thought through. This is on Kickstarter right now. I'll put a link in the description. We've really enjoyed that, and we'll be playing it 4-player.
Yeah.
I'll have to extend the table.
Yeah.
4-player on Thursday, so we might get Chris's thoughts added on the end if they're any good. And if we've changed, we might, or if we've played the same, it's probably worth sticking a little addendum. Thank you.
Addendum.
Thanks very much. We'll see you next time on Board, Deck and Dice.
One eternity later.
Here we are, second play of Merchant's Cove for 3 of us. One of us was a new player. He lost. And Mark was the only one who played the same character and did worse than his first turn.
Yeah.
Didn't learn the lesson about actually making stuff.
No, I did. No, I made these. I made more of these. So I played this bit better than I did last time. I just ignored this.
You didn't play it better than did you?
Well, no. I mean, I played specifically my player bit better.
I played it better, but did worse.
You learnt from my captain mistakes for sure.
I learned a lot.
I think what we were saying was that myself and you aimed to serve the customers a bit more. So like the first couple of moves, I wasn't concentrating on goods because I couldn't tell which boat was going to come down. There was too many mixes of colour. If they'd all been red, if they'd been red in each one of these, I might have gone, right, it's worth making one of each red good. Yeah. But it wasn't like that. So I was like, right, hire your staff, get your extra time tokens. And it was fair to say, I think we all thought about the Chronomancer, which is one we hadn't seen before. After day 1, we were like, that's really hard. You can't do a lot. Like, things were cost, but I made a mistake on how much the hire costs. But things cost quite a lot. But that is because he can get these tokens, which you can then use to pay for things. And that is incredibly powerful because you can stay and have 3 turns in a row if you play it right. So that was quite good. And once I got into that rhythm, that really helped. You had Potion Explosion.
Yep.
Yep.
I did.
Did all right apart from corruption?
Yeah, no, well, yeah, I had quite a lot of corruption, 54 in the end. I was trying to, I didn't serve the customers as well as you guys, especially second round when I think there was 6 red. And
6 red on the small.
Yeah, and
we got 54 each on that.
Exactly, and I hadn't at that point quite grokked how to create as much as possible, and I'm still churning it in my head. The benefits of bringing these down. I don't know what you call them. Sorry.
I-core.
Yeah, over creating. But now I'm more thinking about it. Maybe it is on the first round because the thing is, the most you're going to get from that, I think, ever is 4. Really, most of the time, the most. I got 4 once, I think.
No, you got 3
5.
green and
yeah,
quite possibly. But more often than not, you're going to come away with 3, aren't you? Which
you came away more, didn't you?
I came away with loads. Yeah. I was just pulling marbles off.
You definitely went through the marbles quicker.
I think though as well. I mean, I was watching Chris play, and I think I just looked out.
Yeah,
one of those things where my look
marbles
was just
come in.
I just pulled out a lot more.
Yeah,
that's the
matches.
thing.
Yeah, you were totally engrossed in that last time, weren't you? I think we were saying it's interesting how differently they play. Like the luck on the pirate one is in the draws of the big treasure and the spinner, but you're always going to get movement.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, there's a luck of the draw from the bag. This one, you have the luck of the dice, although it's a bit more favourable because you can go high or low. So the big question, we're having a bit of a debate about, do you move your wilds down early? I think probably I would try and move at least half of them down. So I've got 2 really, because then you've got the flexibility to make small ones with just 1 extra marble or big ones with 2.
Well, they're permanent resources, aren't they?
They're permanent. They stick. And then this one, there's not, the luck is in a little bit to do with how the initial tiles get laid out. There's 2 that you put down and you randomly choose the rest, and then which ones go white side up in the market, which is worse. But once you get into your kind of rundle action of this, it's really cool being able to grab extra time tokens, and again, taking them so you also get a little bit of a bonus in the score. So first round I didn't produce much, but I took those for the biggest guilds just to keep myself up on the score. We both got the 50 points, at least 50 points on the second round.
Yeah.
And again on the third round I just had everything I wanted. I sold big goods there to the 2 colours that are there, and I had the ones for the small ones there. It wasn't enough to catch Simon though with his sailing. And then Mark again.
Yeah. I forgot on the first round that the value on the goods was multiplied by every person in there.
Every person in that.
Yeah, but that's why I did so badly on the first round, where I
Yeah.
got no points in the first round, and then I didn't control that enough. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were definitely more cavalier with the corruption again,
Yeah, well, I didn't take any corruption on my first play at all.
and came
And then
last.
I came last, so I sort of just went hell for leather for it this time.
Yeah.
And really just took corruption. I ended up getting minus 60 corruption at the end of the game, which I knew was going to hit me, but I stayed ahead.
Yeah.
Far
Well,
enough.
you got past 200 on the previous merchant
Yeah.
phase, and I'm just seeing messages come in that 200 is what they're getting after 100 plus plays.
Yeah.
So 200 is like a pro score.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Shame didn't finish on 200.
So yeah, I think yeah, it's cool.
Let's go.
And like we said last time, there's the roll and write one, which is a bowl. It's like a fortune teller person. So you roll your runes, 2 of which are dice. One's a bone-shaped wooden meatball, and depending on which side they go into, you can take stuff off your roll and write. It's a dry whiteboard, and the other one's innkeeper, who takes people from the guilds, I think, or as they come in, and puts them into beds, and then he doesn't serve them on the piers. They come into the hotel. The big goods are beds that they sleep in overnight, and then they come in down for drinks, which are the small goods. But if you don't give enough drinks, they have a fight. So you've got to manage the patrons.
Wow.
So that's in the expansion. It seems really good. The link for the Kickstarter will be in the description. Go check it out. I've been really pleasantly surprised this one. 2 plays in now, and I would play any of the roles next time. I'd love to do the ones I've done before, but I would play any of them quite happily, I think, of the ones we've got here, because we've only got the base 4. Thanks very much for watching. See you next time on Board Deck and Dice.